It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show. It's the Big Tatum. It's the Big Tatum Show.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen and ladies? I got a good show for y'all. Every Thursday, I have a couple of the fellas on, sometimes it's ladies, to talk about certain topics. You know, I bring on interesting people just to have conversations, man. We have a good time. We just hang out on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Arizona time. Arizona don't change time zones. Everybody else is too crazy to get it together. So we end up running into these time zone things. So Pacific Standard Time, that's what time zone we're on right now, or the time zone that we're connected to. And I got my people on. So before we bring them on, I'm waiting for ABL. We got Alex in the house. He's in the back office and waiting on ABL. I always send the links late, so don't judge the guest. I'm the one that's the problem in this situation. So before we get into that, I want to just advise you guys, especially the people that shop on the Officer Tatum store, let you know that we got all this stuff back in stock. Y'all literally over the weekend sold out of the Don shirt. Let me see if I got that shirt hanging over here. The Don shirt. So the Don shirt, everybody loved this shirt. Donald Trump super gang banging right here. You know what I'm saying? So that joker sold out in the weekend. But we put in a reorder. So if you're interested in some of the merch on the Officer Tatum store, make sure you go to the store, put in discount code United We Stand, get 20% off the entire store. And if you run into something that's sold out, just know we see your request. So you got to make a request on the thing that says sold out. You put notify me when made available, and we'll get all your requests in, and that dictates how much we restock and if we restock a particular item. So that the Don shirt is coming back. The Fathers Matter shirt is already on order. I think it's going to come in tomorrow. I think Fathers Matter will be here tomorrow. So be ready. Okay, I'm still waiting on ABL, but he's not here. He's probably just taking a little bit. So while we wait, I'm going to bring in my boy Alex. And y'all know Alex, man. It's funny because I remember when I first saw Alex's video of him at the city council. I mean, it wasn't the city council. It was one of the meetings. And I think it was city council meeting, and he just roasted them. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And so I kept sharing his videos every time he go and do something crazy out there. But I think it's an interesting way to get a point across. He's an incredibly funny guy. So I'm gonna bring in ABL is here now. So let me bring in my guest, man. We got ABL and Prime Stein. What's up?
Yes, thank you so much. I know ABL is coming in, but Brandon, I just want to say this. You know, you've supported me so much just by you sharing my videos. And Matt, the first big interview I got was InfoWars. When you shared my first video, they called me the next day. They're like, "Oh, we saw you on Brandon's show. We got to have you on InfoWars." So I just want to tell you, and not only you, I really want to thank Corinne. Corinne has shared so much stuff on Instagram. So really, the Tatum family has been. I'm indebted to you guys gratefully. Thank you so much for the support, guys.
I appreciate it, man. I think it's well deserved, man. You put yourself out there. You're very charismatic, funny, and you just really changed the game. You know, you said an incredible point on. I think it was Tucker, one of those shows, and I ain't even been on Tucker yet. But
well, we got to get you on real quick. You need to be on Tucker next. I need to text him. He loves my stuff. But go ahead. I want you to make that point. But I also want to say this: you call me brave. You and Anthony, y'all are the real brave ones because Joe Biden said if you don't vote for him, you're not black. So I'm saying you guys are the real brave ones. You guys aren't even black anymore, and you guys are still alive. So y'all are the real brave ones.
Dude, you're funny. You're funnier in person than I thought. So, yeah, but you made an incredible point because you said if you say the things that you have said, they won't listen. They act like, you know, you're just coming up with conspiracy theories. But when you go into the meetings and you do it, they have no choice but to listen. They have to give you the floor for that period of time. And you do it not only by making a statement, but you put on costumes and all kind of stuff. And I just want to say I appreciate you. So I want to talk about a few things with ABL, you, Alex, about Mike Tyson, because a lot of people, I don't know what a lot of people think. That I believe that Mike Tyson was 100% in the right by defending him or chastising this guy who pretty much was antagonizing him. You know, people see me, recognize me when I'm out in public, and I appreciate it. But most people are respectful. You know, they say hello, we take a picture. I'm always taking pictures with people. I would never not say hello to you, take a picture with you, whatever you want, because I appreciate you. But this has gone too far. I mean, he was literally heckling Mike Tyson.
Well, Brandon, did you see the full clip? He was trying to give him mushrooms. The guy was obviously heavily intoxicated. The full clip, it's him, it's his friend. It looks like my cats are going crazy. It looks like his friend is filming the guys on the across the aisle. If you see the whole video, and he's like, "Man, I'm gonna try to give Mike Tyson mushrooms," and the guy called Mike Tyson a peasant. So the guy was obviously, really high or drunk when he's dealing with Mike Tyson, who's a legend, one of the most famous people on earth.
I'm gonna show this clip because I want people to see this if they haven't seen it. This is on ABL's IG. Just so happened to be ABL's IG. I couldn't find like a more thorough video, but then I found it on ABL's channel. So y'all need to follow Anthony B. Logan on the Instagram. So I'm gonna play this video for people who didn't see it. But this guy right here, I don't know what he was smoking. I don't know what he was thinking. It's almost the epitome of like, out of all the people you want to mess with, what make you think you want to mess with Michael Tyson? You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm a roll the film. All right, let me turn the sound on. Roll the film.
Bro, this shit crazy, bro. Mike Tyson. My dog done got lit, man. He over here rapping with Tyson.
That's him talking about mushrooms.
He got some shrooms. You don't know how to act. Tyson looking out, man. This shit crazy as fuck. He should have never gave you his money.
Wow.
And now he beat up.
Mid flight. Boy just got beat up by my.
How do you face?
Turn that way. Yeah, he got fucked up. Trying to ask for autograph, man.
That's not what happened.
Hey, Mike, come on.
Mike giving him hooks. So with seeing that, I got to make a video about this tomorrow. What's y'all opinion on this thing? You know, was Mike wrong? Was that guy wrong? You know, what do y'all think about it?
Well, I'll go first just because this is my opinion. That guy probably has some sort of weird fetish and wanted to get punched by Mike Tyson. I mean, there's something weird. Like, he wanted to provoke them. You know that as ex-law enforcement, some people just want to push the limits. So that guy was acting totally out of line. Now, Mike Tyson is one of the most famous guys in the world. He probably should have handled it a little bit better. But at the same time, Mike Tyson is a loose cannon. That's why he's Mike Tyson. That's why he's so cool. That's what his legendary status is for. So, I mean, the guy was in more of the wrong than Mike Tyson, but at the end of the day, you know, they probably shouldn't have ever fought him. That's all I'm saying. I just don't like that guy now. He could sue him. Now he's actually going to get the fame that he wanted. That's what I hate. It's the legal liability for Mike.
Yeah.
Now,
what do you think, ABL?
Now the thing about Mike, okay, so this whole thing is a little bit deeper than just a clip.
Yeah.
So the guy came on the plane. No, pardon me. Mike comes on the plane. The guy's there. His buddy's there. And the guy that kept antagonizing him asked for a selfie at first. Mike obliged, gave him the selfie, gave him.
Well, he did take a picture with him, Anthony?
Yes.
Okay. What? Okay, sorry. I didn't realize that. Go ahead, sorry.
Yep. So they took a selfie, took the picture. He was really nice. Mike Tyson, from what I know, people that met him, nicest guy in the world. He always took a picture with you. Super just cool, right? That's what he was on the plane. And matter of fact, he just come from a 420 event in San Francisco, handing out free weed buds and stuff like that. Just the weed Santa Claus, right? That's Mike Tyson in this particular plane. So he gets on the plane, and the guy will not leave him alone. And it goes on for a while. Mike politely warns him, "Hey, man, I need you to go ahead and sit down. Just relax. Let's not do so much." The guy refused to do it. I ain't gonna do that. And then he has a water bottle and throws it at Mike Tyson. Oh, yeah. Yes,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So when the water bottle flew, now you're getting them beats. You're getting the beats. Now, luckily, because we're still dealing with Mike Tyson, okay? I don't care, 55 years old, 175 years old, it's still Mike Tyson. Luckily, he did not get the full Mike Tyson fury because those hooks, oh, man, like all of this right here would have been, the teeth would have been missing, the nose would have been broken, the eye sockets, all of that would have been damaged. He would have been a whole vegetable on JetBlue. But luckily, Mike Tyson was being nice and gave him a little bit of warning to say, "Hey, sir, back up a little bit, know your boundaries, don't harass me and throw stuff at me on this airplane." So I think what happened was probably the best outcome. He'll try to sue, of course, because that's what they do. But I hope it gets thrown out, and hopefully Mike does not go to jail over this because the guy did everything he could to antagonize him. Everything he could to antagonize him.
Yeah, I don't think Mike could go to jail over this, because when you look at the laws and stuff like that, he did antagonize. He provoked Mike to respond. And technically, that guy should be arrested for antagonizing Mike. In the state of Arizona, that guy will be arrested for assault. Because in Arizona, if you provoke a person to react to you or you provoke a person to put their hands on you, you are actually guilty of assault. So I don't know what the federal laws is because this is obviously a federal crime or it's going to be investigated federally because it's on an airplane. But I think Mike did the right thing, man. You can't, bro. Hold on. You just. I want everybody to understand this. When people are very famous, and I'm not nowhere near famous as Mike Tyson, you gotta let them breathe, man. They get clobbered all day long. They can't even go on a regular airplane and without people bothering them. They just want to sit on a plane and get from point A to point B. And many of them will oblige. They will take a picture with you, say hello. But you got to know when to stop, man. These people got a life. They want to live and be normal like you and like everybody else. So be cautious when you do that. When you see me, I'm cool, but don't do me like that. Don't be, antagonizing me, especially when I'm with my family. I don't know if I'm gonna hit you with a 2-piece and a hot pepper like Mike did, but it's gonna be a problem.
But ABL said it best. I mean, Mike Tyson is, I didn't realize if he was provoked, he knows the law. He's pretty smart and he's very gracious. Like he goes around, is giving gifts. He's done interviews with, Alex Jones. He's very laid back, even though he has this persona that he's like a monster, he's actually seems pretty chill. So now hearing a little more to the story, obviously Mike was in the right, punching him. But that Mike has the best quote though. He goes, "Everybody's got a plan till you get punched in the mouth." And that's kind of what happened. That guy had a plan, he wanted to antagonize him, and then when he got punched, that plan changed.
Oh yeah. I think he wanted that. He wanted Mike to put a hurting on him so he can sue. Maybe he didn't like Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, as celebrities and people that got a lot of money, people do this to you so they can sue you. Because he can still sue Mike. Even though he was wrong, he can still sue Mike. That doesn't mean he's going to win. It may cause Mike to have to, shell out some change to defend himself. But these people are looking to sue you. They're looking for you to react. But I think it's very hard not to, man, when somebody throw a water bottle and they're just pushing you to the limit.
Well,
but I think it's very interesting.
Brendan, I want to make this point. See, it even goes deeper. So this is just kind of like a surface level example. But then you think about like the dark people. You think of like Ghislaine Maxwell. You think of like, a lot of what they do with Jeffrey Epstein. They honeypot people. They get people in vulnerable situations like a Mike Tyson or like a celebrity influencer. And then they have them, sleep with somebody and they film it. So what I'm just saying, this is, this is a very surface level. But they do this with all celebrities, politicians. They try to get you to jump off sides. And, this is kind of what that guy was doing to try to gain. He was trying to gain something from it, in my opinion, fame, a lawsuit, or he was just really dumb. I mean, it's one of the three.
Drunk, man. That liquid courage, man, will mess you up, boy.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I've seen people do the craziest things with a little bit of that liquid courage in them. And they do things they regret the next day. I don't think this is I don't think this taints the image of Mike Tyson, in my opinion.
Not at all.
Because he's a fighter to start with. Right. Because he still got it at 60 years old. I don't know how old is Mike? 55. He my dad's age, actually, So Mike Tyson still got it. But I think that hope this is a lesson learned from people to not put their hands on other people. Let me get to the next subject I want to talk about. And I don't have it pulled up, but I think I could probably be able to find it. But this that kid that got detained, the 8-year-old. Y'all see that? Y'all see that video?
Yeah.
It's too much.
Tell me, what do y'all think about it? Give me your opinions, and then I'm gonna comment.
Well, I'll just go first. I mean, obviously the cop's doing a little too much. I think that was in Syracuse, New York. So different, this as an officer, different police forces use different, police tactics. It looks like he was reaching. Like, there's a way to teach a kid a lesson without publicly embarrassing him. But at the same time, this is the cop's job. But this is a kid. You got to give the kid a break. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, so you take the stance on saying the cops went a little too far.
A little overzealous. Just a little.
Okay, ABL, what you think?
Now, I don't know all the context to it. All I saw was a clip, so I don't know what's going on. Like, they're talking about, like, I saw a caption that said that he stole some Doritos or something. I don't know exactly what happened. But I didn't see the boy getting roughed up or anything. The boy was just like being held by his arms. I don't really see him being roughed up. Now, the thing about it, people say, oh, as a little boy, he's a kid. I've seen some little kids do some stuff. I've seen little boys that age, they will kill you. Now, I'm not saying this boy did that, obviously, but I don't know what he did or why he's being detained. All I know is that he's being detained. I don't think it's really that bad. He's not being hurt at all. They got him by his, like your dad holding you. I don't think it's really that bad, in my opinion.
Well, Anthony, you make a really good point, because a lot of the violence here in Dallas is done by people under 18-year-olds, 16, 17-year-old kids that don't realize the repercussions of their actions. So you're right. I mean, these are young kids can make worse mistakes than adults because they don't have any context to what what happens from their actions. So, I guess I'm sitting on the fence. Like, the kid needs to be taught a lesson, but, I don't know if he needs to go to jail or be, taken in, but we'll see. Watch the clip.
Yeah, so we'll jump into the clip so people can see, and then I'm gonna give my commentary, because I read a little bit about it. But this is the problem with police departments sometimes, is that they don't release information fast enough. Like, they should have had a police spokesperson or a liaison for the police department come out instantaneously. They should have showed up to the scene ready to make a statement to defend the police department, or at least give context. Because if you don't, this minute clip, or what is it? This one is 3 minutes because the Daily Caller kind of spliced a bunch of stuff in it, but it's going to get out of control. So let me play the video for the audience to see. Let me see. I think the sound is on. Roll the film.
What is y'all doing?
Guess. Take a guess what I'm doing.
Hey, you're like a baby to me. Why you?
Guess what I'm doing.
I don't know what you doing. I just see you snatch him up off the. So what's going on then?
He's stealing stuff. If he breaks into your house to steal something.
Nah, man. What, he stole a bag of chips? So y'all treat me like a whole cold-blooded killer?
Keep walking, dude. You don't even know what you're
Keep walking. I know what I just came up and see. I know the I just came up and see.
Okay, what did you see?
I see y'all snatching him off the bike like you're a grown-ass man. Ain't he saying it wasn't him? What y'all doing?
Crazy. How old is he? 10 years?
What y'all talking about, man?
That's against.
Oh, so they keep berating these police officers. So this is my opinion as a former police officer. And to me, this is the problem in these inner cities, because they don't want to hold people accountable. I was 8 years old when I got arrested. I was smoking marijuana in a vacant house. I hadn't even hit the blunt yet.
At 8 years old, Brandon, you were smoking? Wow.
Blunts.
Dang.
Blunts. We weren't smoking joints. We were cousin rolling the blunts from the swisher.
Blunts.
And so,
Like, real,
bro, blunts like make your head hurt, you feel dizzy and sleepy at the same time as an 8-year-old. So we're in this vacant house. The cops come barging in. They had us at gunpoint and everything. And it was me, it was 7 of us. So just to put it in context, I was the youngest at 8, then 9, 10, 11, all the way up to 17. The oldest guy was 17. So he went to big boy jail. They piled all 6 of us in a police car, drove us to a lot. They took our information, then they took us to the substation 3x3. Now, did my dad show up and say, why y'all do that to my son? Well, he just 8 years old. No, my dad showed up and said he's gonna kill us. That's what he said. I'm gonna kill y'all when you get home. And so I think that even though it could be a bag of chips, it doesn't really matter to me, because you have to set an example that it's not okay to steal. Me and my cousins stole chips from stores when I was that age as well. We would go in there with our big jackets on, and then we'll go in there and put the chips underneath, and then we'll say it loud so the clerk can hear us. You know, we were stupid. I don't want nothing out of here. There ain't nothing good in here, and we'll just walk out. So they wouldn't think nothing about us walking in and walking out. And we were stealing chips all the time. And so if you want chips as a young kid, you should say, how about you go to your neighbor's house, and how about you do a little work to get extra money so you can buy yourself chips. It's never okay to break the law, because if you do it now, you do it when you're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it's more consequences. The dad originally said that the cops were very responsible, were very nice and respectful. He didn't have a problem. Then dad saw the video that they playing right here, and he wanted to file a complaint. He wanted to file a complaint because he think that's going to be money. They never put the kid in handcuffs. Simply what happened was he stole something. I think he stole some chips or something from the store. They detained him. They took him in the car to his house and led him off to his parents. He wasn't charged. He wasn't arrested. None of the above. So
yeah, I mean, I had a similar situation. I lit off a bunch of fireworks in a porta potty when I was like 13. I was in 8th grade, and the cops
surprise.
Surprise! And we caught the porta potty on fire basically, and they took me and they didn't charge me. I mean, it just got burned up. It didn't like burn down, on the inside, and they didn't charge me. So listen, I think now after watching and giving it some context, they did the right thing. They have to teach a kid a lesson, but as long as he's not gonna face any serious punishment, the embarrassment from this, now he will learn that, hey, maybe this bag of chips is a bigger deal. Maybe committing these small crimes, do have consequences.
Yeah, so we have a super chat, and thank y'all for the super chats. I'm putting them on the screen. I'm trying not to interrupt the flow of the conversation, but I'll read this one. It says, do you think with everything that Black people are doing in this country, do you think people are becoming more racist or less racist? I will say I think people are becoming more racist against Black people now than they were in the last few decades. And it's just because I'm becoming more prejudiced against Black people acting like this. Like I like to this point, I'm sick of Black people acting like this. If it was a white kid, nobody would be even saying nothing. I'm not saying in every situation, but Black people, no matter what happened to the kid could have stabbed another kid and they'd be out here doing the same thing with no context. So I think it's creating animosity because people are just sick of the complaining that's going on from the inner city community. What do y'all think?
Well, I think it's worse too, because you look at a lot of the anti-Asian crime. There's a lot of Black on Asian crime. There's the Black on Black crime. There's white on Black crime. So I mean, it's just kind of an overabundance on people because of race issues causing drama. So yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to compare it though. I don't know what the civil rights era was. I could imagine that was pretty racist too, when you're drinking at a different water fountain. But at the same time, I keep saying that, I mean, it's pretty bad out there now. People want to immediately pigeonhole you because you're Black or because you're Asian or whatnot, and then and give you some beef or start drama. So I think it is really prevalent, to be honest.
What do you think, ABL?
Now, I'm not sure if it's about racism. I think it's just about being aware of how to maneuver in society. So, for an example, somebody might say that I'm racist for when I go to Atlanta to travel, I refuse to stop anywhere in East Point, College Park, anywhere around the airport at all. I refuse. Now, is that racist? Nah, because I go to another area that has a lot of Black folks. I mean, Atlanta, you got a lot of Black people in Atlanta. I'll go Marietta, I'll go Smyrna, somewhere like that, Alfreda, Buckhead. I'm not going to stop in East Point, though. Because you just saw that video of the guy, the security guard that got shot in the back of the head. That
was the worst video I've seen, where he just ran up and shot him for no reason. That video is disgusting.
Yeah, that was East Point. So broad daylight. So nope. If it's at nighttime, I'm going straight up 75 back to Chattanooga. I'm not going to stop nowhere in that particular sphere. But I know how to maneuver. That's not racism, though. That's just understanding where you are. If you live in an area where there's a lot of crime and you know who's doing it and you know where they come from, you're going to target them specifically. Now, some people are going to say, well, it's everybody. It doesn't really matter where you come from. You could be from East Point or Buckhead or Midtown, wherever in Atlanta. If you're Black, then you're part of it. I don't really see it like that. And I think that if you live in the area, you are better able to see exactly where it comes from. But if you're not from there and you're visiting, maybe not so much. So that could be where the racism comes in.
Yeah, I think people just getting frustrated with the anti-white sentiment. I think that's what's creating things, because it's always the white cop bad, white man bad. And then it seems to be coming from Black people. And then you watch the crime, and it seems like Black people are committing all these crimes. And Black Lives Matter is a complete fraudulent organization that took over our entire country. And so with these things that are pushing Black people into a negative light, I think it's creating more people feeling some animosity that they normally wouldn't feel. And you see it every time it's open season for Black people to call white people whatever name they want to call them. Every white man is racist. They go on television and say white people are the enemy of the country. White is systemic racism. I think that sentiment creates an animosity between races. Just like the video we saw that you guys were talking about, the video of the security guard getting shot and robbed, and then other Black people walk up and watch his lifeless body, and they rob him.
Wow.
And so you get to say, you say, well, why they always complaining on TV, and then look at what they do to their own people. And it creates this animus, I think, because I'm feeling like, Black people in this country, not all, but it seems like it's more of a hatred in a weirdness that's coming from that particular community or culture, more so. But anyway.
No, and I want to say this, you talk about BLM, I think that is done to destabilize, the Black community. That is meant to make them look bad. You look at Patricia Cullors, she bought, a $6.5 million house in a 98% white neighborhood. And yet they get all that funding and it either goes to Joe Biden, who knows where it goes. But that it didn't lift up any Black people. And what it did is it made other white people that, maybe did have racism. Oh, then it just, it rallied them to even be more racist. So it was just like a tool used to create more hate, in my opinion, sadly.
Yeah, and I think that it's this push for everything to be about race. I mean, if they don't like what you say, you're a racist.
Dude, they called Larry Elder a black white supremacist. I mean, literally, and that's a Dave Chappelle sketch, one of the best sketches ever, come to life. I mean, that's it. And see, that's the other thing is it's all about labels. On the left, they always want to say, oh, you're Black, you're Latino, you're a person of color. That's why people like you shake up the system. People like Anthony or Sarah Gonzalez, a friend of mine on The Blaze, because she's Mexican. They can't deal with that. They can't handle somebody not fitting their intersectionality checkbox, not being on their side. That's really, like, you guys are the real punk rockers of this day and age, because you're going against the grain, because you're not just going to be a sheep and follow the leader because of your skin color. So that's why, I really appreciate what you guys do.
I appreciate that, man. I think that is invaluable for us, ABL, me, and the other people everybody can contribute, right? I think, Alex, you do a great job at contributing as well. But I do think it bucks against the system when you see minorities come out in a way in which is not normally presented. Let me bring up another point that was going on just recently about the masks. Have any of you guys traveled since they lifted the mask mandate on planes?
I'm flying to Phoenix, your neck of the woods, on Sunday, so I'm happy, no mask. But I just flew with a mask the other day, and I had a video get about 200,000 views on Twitter where I wore 9 masks on the plane to try to. But I'm excited to fly without the mask. But okay, what were you gonna say, though?
Oh, when you come, man, you gotta holler at me, man. You gotta.
For sure. I'm going on a bunch of Turning Point shows. I'm meeting with some of the people there, so we'll see.
Cool.
Hopefully, the meetings go well.
Yeah, maybe we'll connect there. But ABO, have you flown since they did that?
No, I haven't.
So I'm gonna give you guys just a little insight, because I just so happen to be flying everywhere when all of this began to unfold. My very first flight was the rumors that they would get rid of the mask mandate, but they still announced it. The guy next to me didn't have a mask on, and he said, "Did you see what happened? The Supreme Court or the federal court ruled that they can no longer enforce the mask." And he said, "I showed them this thing and nobody said anything to me." The lady at the check, she was checking at the gate. She kind of like, wink, wink, you got to wear a mask. And he didn't wear a mask. So I said, well, you know what? I ain't gonna wear a mask. So we both were the only people on the airplane not wearing a mask, and they didn't say nothing to us. So that started it. That was my connecting flight. Then I had to connect I flew from Phoenix to Charlotte to Nashville. So when we going from Charlotte to Nashville, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna wear a mask at all. everybody in the airport is still being a slave. I was the only one that got on the plane, or attempted to get on the plane without a mask. Black lady that's working behind the gate yells at me in front of everybody. She was yelling so hard her mask slipped down. You need to have a mask. Come on this plane. No, you need to wear a mask. And I'm like, lady, you taking this personal. You act like this is about you. You know, so I didn't want to get kicked out the plane. I didn't know if they had, that they were changing it up. So I went in and put the mask on until I walked past her and I took it off. But I got on a plane. There was nobody, the flight attendants didn't have masks on. And all the people had masks on, but flight attendant didn't. So I said, it's official. So I didn't have a mask on. The girl next to me took her mask off. She didn't see me having a mask on. And then, of course, they made the announcement. But this is what I observed. Two things. And then I'm going to throw the mic to y'all. One is that I noticed that disproportionately, Black people still are wearing masks. Disproportionately. Like almost every Black person I see still have a mask on. And then another thing is that these people have made masks their God. They've made it their identity. And so people were upset when you didn't have to wear a mask anymore. I mean, literally, the lady next to me on one of my flights, with one of like 5 flights I was on, they made the announcement and she got mad. Oh, they didn't have to say that, because the flight attendant said, we live in America, we live in a free country, so you can wear it if you want to. And she got butthurt. So I want y'all to speak to this. Why do you think that the majority of Black people are still wearing masks? I would say the majority. It was a disproportionately amount of Black people that are still wearing masks. And what do you guys think about these leftists who are losing their mind at the fact that we don't have to live in tyranny anymore?
Well, the mask is the MAGA hat for the left. I believe Joe Rogan said that, but that is their MAGA hat. It's like kind of shows their, political ideology. So the mask for them is something that probably will never go away, because they think it is like how people wear the MAGA hat. It's their hat. But I also want to make this point. This is the problem with the mask, is that it turned all the door checker at Walmart. It turned, all these people that were just basic, minimum wage employees into mask police. And what that does is somebody that has no power, that's never had any power in their life, all of a sudden it gives them some authority over people, and they've taken it too far. So the mask has been a divisive tool, sadly, where people get yelled at. Like you said, the gate agent yelled at you and nobody really cares. So people are power hungry. They're using it as an example, or as a way to just, put on your mask, just to tell you what to do, because their life is not good, because they're having trouble at home and they're having financial stress. It's just a stress outlet. So the mask is just a tool to divide us. And this is what they say: if a pair of Levi's can't stop a fart, then how is a mask going to stop a deadly virus? It doesn't make sense. So it's all about compliance. It's not necessarily about health when we talk about the mask.
Yeah, I tend to agree to that. I said that in a speech the other day. I said, if you can smell my fart through that mask, you getting COVID. Because and people, I think they think you can't smell it. They just bust and tail, man, on the plane.
I think that's all plays. I don't know. I feel like everybody passes gas on something. You get up there, that happens.
Even today, I didn't have a mask on and I wanted a mask because somebody busted tail. I'm like, really? Can you really gonna do it right here? Anyway, ABL, what you think?
The whole thing with the mask and Black people, it's just something that Black folks feel comfortable with. It's like a safety. It's like a warm blankie. You're a little boy, you get a little blankie. It's like that. You feel comfortable with it. You always want to sleep with it. You always want to be around it. That's just kind of what it is. So then when they say you don't have to wear it, they feel a sense of insecurity. Even though they can still wear it, they feel like, well, if you're not wearing it, then I'm less safe. They buy into what television says. They just look at that and just say, okay, that's just what it is. But
well, you nailed it though with the television. It's called trauma-based mind control. They scare you into compliance. They say, oh, if you don't have this little piece of cloth on your face, you're going to die. And that's why I've showed there's a lot of people probably wearing it very earnestly, and they probably don't even like following the rules, but they're honestly scared if they don't wear it. So that's a lot of the media and the television telling them what to do.
Yeah, they're afraid. And I also see people that are very elderly wearing the mask. Still, they're scared too. Even though, I mean, it's not even really working. They're wearing like the cloth mask. They came out and said the cloth masks don't work. They said that. The same people that said wear the mask also said cloth masks don't work. But at that point, it doesn't matter. All they heard from the beginning was masks work, wear it. If you don't, you're going to die. So now they're scared, and they're like, it's like an attachment. It's a permanent attachment.
Well, nobody ever said, and we can only say so much on YouTube, but not once have you heard any health professional say, go get some exercise or some vitamin D or anything. You've never heard that one time, or eat a healthier diet. No, it's either the mask or the vaccine is the only way you can be healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's to bring up a point, because just think about this for a minute. I think these people are absolutely out of their mind that are still wearing 2 and 3 masks. I seen them, 2 masks at least. However, we don't attack them.
No.
We're not going up to them, embarrassing them and saying, "Look, do you not trust the science now? Take the mask off, you idiot." I feel like if the roles were reversed, they would be doing us like that. Like you said, Alex, about the MAGA hat. This is their MAGA hat. Like, and if you juxtapose it, you say if masks were something that conservatives wanted to do and conservatives were wearing masks, the left will be shaming them, throwing stuff at them, talking crazy to them. And I think that we can clearly see the difference between the mindset of the leftists and the mindset of conservatives. We just wanted to be free. It wasn't about the mask.
And I want to say this. Remember, the vaccine is safe and effective, and masks are good. Just for the YouTube, when they're listening to this, we love the masks. Yeah. It's very good. Everybody wear your mask. Everybody get your Pfizer, and you'll be okay. It's the best. Thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah. Believe the science. That's what we
believe the science. We all believe the science here. Thank you, Dr. Fauci, our Lord and Savior. Thank you so much.
I think some people actually feel that way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think some people actually feel that way.
I saw a church where they had a bunch of signs out front. They had Black Lives Matter, a Ukraine flag, and
of course
a little graphic that says "We support and trust Anthony Fauci" with his picture on it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a game, but I think they believe it. Hold on, let me give a shout out real quick because I didn't realize who this person was. So I'm not gonna fully say who this person was, but I'm gonna give them a special shout out. So I just want to say shout out to Taylor Fitness. I appreciate you, and for a fact I'm gonna hold it down about when it comes to police. So I appreciate that. All right, what was y'all saying? What were you saying about the Lord Fauci? I think they actually believe that. Like you gotta think, if you don't have a God or you don't believe in God, other things are gonna replace God in an authority sense, right? Or in a belief system sense. And I think people with no God start to pick people and make them a God. And I feel like Dr. Fauci to some people, because he was essentially validating their hatred towards conservatives, validating their false sense of virtue signaling, and them having the power, like Alex said, them having the power to now dictate and tell you what to do, so I think that they did elevate him to like a God status.
Well, this is why it is they want to make you think that, we all came from nothing, that the Big Bang happened. And then, millions and millions of years later, we just evolved from pond scum. They literally want you to feel like that. They want to try to delete God. They don't want God to exist. These people, not just all on the left, but a lot of people feel like that. And the reason is that's a control mechanism, because if you only feel like you have this life and there is no afterlife, then you look at people like Dr. Fauci as your Lord and Savior because he's going to make you live longer. Oh, whatever Fauci does, I'll live longer. So it's a psychological operation to make you feel hopeless and put your hope into false idols.
What you think, ABL?
I mean, that's right on point. And really, at the end of the day, it's about the control. If they can control the population and make them believe whatever they want them to believe, then they'll do it. They'll put out campaigns. It's like they got a template to do it. And you'll see some of the, like you see on CNN, all the other alphabet letter news outlets, they'll put the same stories out there repeatedly over and over again. When the Hunter Biden thing came out, oh, that's from Russia. First, they built Russia up as this boogeyman, which is really your straw man. So then anytime something comes up that they don't like, oh, that's Russia that does that. Hunter Biden smoking crack, beaming the Scotty, oh, Russia. Joe Biden not knowing where he's at, who he's at, shaking invisible hands, that's Russia. They blame anything on Russia, and people that have already bought into the whole Russia narrative, they'll accept it because they've already been conditioned to be that way. It's part of their control mechanism.
Anthony, you forgot about Rocky IV. They made Russia the villain. Russia has always been the villain. And there's a reason why, though. They don't use China as the villain because China, we have such an economic dependence on them. They make so many of our products. They make our iPhones. So really and truly, probably we need to worry about all of the fentanyl that's being, rushed through our border here between Texas and Mexico. Yet they're going to constantly talk about the border between Russia and Ukraine because they got to make Russia the boogeyman because they can blame everything on Russia. But you bring up Hunter Biden. He worked for Burisma. He worked in the Ukraine and did a bunch of shady business dealing. You don't think they don't know that? That's why we just approved another $800 million to the Ukraine, because they know that they have leverage. Like I was talking about earlier, they have leverage on the Biden administration. So we're going to have to capitulate to whatever the Ukraine wants. And now Zelensky's saying they need $7 billion a month to stay afloat. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did some sort of, and see, this is my problem with that, is we pay so much in taxes. I know you guys pay a lot in taxes as well. And it goes to literally the military industrial complex to go fight wars in countries that we'll never go to, that we can't even pick out on a map. Yet I've had friends and family die of fentanyl drug overdoses. I had a friend, I worked for the TV show, little background TV show Cheaters for 10 years. And I can only say so much. I signed an NDA, but you guys probably know about it. But the host of Cheaters is this guy, Clark Gable. And I'm telling you guys, he had a high drug tolerance. He was a wild guy. He's from California. His grandfather was Clark Gable from Gone with the Wind. So I'm just saying the guy had a high tolerance. He went and thought he was buying Vicodin. They were pressed by somebody and they had fentanyl in him and he died. He literally took the pills, a normal amount. He wasn't even like, doing one of his wild things. And so he was a very close friend of mine, was the host of the show. It was really devastating. And I know that story over and over and over. I know there's a wealthy people. T. Boone Pickens' grandson went to TCU right down the street from me, died of a drug overdose. So they're actually, the fentanyl, and they can legally make this in China. If they add a molecule to it, their government lets them make it. So if they have the chemical property of fentanyl, then they add like sodium or whatever other molecule, then they're legally allowed to make it. And they flood our border with these drugs. So they don't care about that. They don't care that our youth is having an opioid epidemic. All they're worried about is Vladimir Zelensky and the Azov battalion, who we know are bad people. So it's just really, it's a psychological operation just to destabilize our younger people and people of all ages, in my opinion.
You make a good point, man. I often wonder how much of this is structured, right? How much of this Agenda 21 type stuff is going on where it's not happenstance, right? It's not by chance. Like it's an orchestrated pursuit to an end goal, right? I mean, I think this is just my opinion, so YouTube don't hurt me over it. I'm not saying that this is a fact. I'm not a medical professional and whatever. So I felt like in Wuhan, China, they were developing something as like almost a chemical war against people, right? They're trying to concoct some virus that they can release on the people. I felt like it must have got out sooner than they expected it. And then we saw some residual effects of it because it hurt vulnerable people who are elderly, people with comorbidities, the weak amongst us, pretty much. And it had a disproportionate effect on certain people and certain blood types. We don't know yet until we do more research as to how it actually affects certain people. But we see some people dying at a young age and some people not. So it's like, how did the 40-year-old person that was in shape end up dying from this particular thing? But then 99.99% of other 40-year-olds weren't affected by it. So that plus Disney. Let me give you guys an example. I watched the video somebody sent me, and then I'm gonna get to the question in the super chat. I watched the video somebody sent me, and they said, "What do you think the women's suffrage movement was about?" And of course they said women's rights and women being able to vote and all this. He said, no, it had nothing to do with that. The fact is, the government only could tax 50% of the people in the country. So they needed to push that so they can tax 100% of people across the country. And also they needed women to start going to work and start neglecting the responsibility of taking care of the children at a young age so they can put them in a school, which is indoctrination camps, and the government can indoctrinate them at a younger age. And I said, maybe it's something to that.
Well, I think is what we have is called problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic. They knew that they needed to have, the vaccine. You look at these companies like Pfizer, they're multinational corporations. They're not just based in America. They're based in Canada, Mexico. They sell this vaccine all throughout the world. So the problem is our country is being run by corporations, not human beings. If you and I tried to get something done, we never could. But Pfizer, they can literally donate money to a politician's political action committee and have full control. So that's really the problem that's going on. Of course, they're developing bad stuff in laboratories. That's not just happening in China. That's happening probably in Atlanta at the CDC there, probably in the Ukraine. But like you said, when something gets leaked or something happens, it only benefits these corporations. It doesn't benefit us. So, yeah, I think it's very obvious, what happened when it comes to that.
That's interesting. Let me read the super chat. Unless you got something to add, ABL.
Now, China, I think the issue with the virus is China is just kind of raggedy. It's kind of janky. Like they come off like a first world country, but they're not really. I mean, I watched this channel on YouTube They talk about China a lot because they lived over in China, but they're Americans, lived there for like 10 years. And one of the guys said that he went to this really big hospital in Beijing, probably the biggest hospital that he's ever seen in his life. And he went throughout a lot of the hospital looking for a bar of soap and couldn't find it. You see what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that. That's China. That's what it is. So it's easy to just say, well, it could be something that's going on. That might make sense as far as like it's intentional. But it's also easy to say that it's just raggedy and janky and it just leaked out of the lab because of how careless they are and how unsanitary they are. They don't even really clean up their stuff. They just do things. You know, a virus like that has no business being in China because of how their standards are or lack thereof.
Right. That's a good point. Let me get to Brad super chat, and thank y'all for the super chats. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to keep up with them. Talking and doing this at the same time is difficult. Somebody else said, oh, this is the Blexit comment. This is what I was trying to read. Tatum in the house, work what they do on the panel. Quick question. Why do certain conservative rappers claim that Blexit doesn't allow white performers? Also wish you would go live more. I'm gonna try to go live more, but it's just not, it's a fallacy to say that Blexit don't allow white rappers. It's just that the people who request and people who are connecting with us, they get an opportunity. If you are out there and you want to be a rapper at one of a Blexit event, you might want to contact somebody at Blexit. We're not just out here looking for rappers and saying, can you come do this? It's that like Topher and Bryce and them, they're available. You know what I'm saying? We ask them, they there. Topher show up. And also when Topher performed, I think we had another white rapper on the stage with him one time.
I'm collabing with Bryson right now. Him and I are working on a song together right now. So
are you playing? Or are you serious?
I'm dead serious. No, I'm dead serious. I sent him the track. I'm just waiting for him to send it back. No, we are collaborating. He's a friend of mine now. He's awesome.
My wife asked you a question. I don't know if you saw it earlier because it went on the screen fast. She go, is it hard? Was it difficult for you to prepare your rap song?
Dude, I'm a freestyle king. And listen, every autistic white guy like me has a few bars, you know? So my bars was gas prices way too high. Vladimir Putin needs to die. But if you don't believe me, you can play a copyright song right now and I'll freestyle. When I was a little kid, I think I used to read the rhyming dictionary a lot. So I can't play an instrument to save my life, but to rhyme words together, that I can do naturally. So,
dude, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I cannot.
Top of the dome, freestyles.
Off the dome, dude. I'm ready to go on sway. Yeah, play a beat, dude. I'm primetime 99. I mean, that's kind of like the go-to rhyme.
Can y'all hear this on y'all end?
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it. Can they hear it?
Yeah,
Random Tatum, what can you say? Get censored by the CIA. Smoking blunts all day. 8 years old. No way. Come on. That's too young. Put the blunt down. Let's have some clean fun. Going live all day long. Vaccinate me in my thong. There we go.
Bars.
Man, dude, I gotta say, dude, you should have your own freaking podcast show. My wife is down there laughing. She laughing her brains out.
Okay, that makes me feel good. So I'm actually about to sign a deal with the Blaze. I'm talking with them. I'm about to. So be on the very lookout. I should have a show there very soon.
Your show,
yeah, that's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
You got some talent. I want to watch you, man. So. That is hilarious. My wife's down there laughing. I still hear her down there laughing.
Corinne's the best. She's been so nice with us. She's always shares my stuff on Instagram. And I'm telling you, I don't want to just kiss your butt because I know, this is a no homo situation. But dude, you sharing me, you were the first, million subscriber YouTube. That really opened a lot of doors for me. And this is why, because you have a good eye for talent. You can see what's funny. And it's really, this day and age, all the entertainment we get is about checking boxes. It's all about intersectionality. You look at the top movies from 1994, it's like Shawshank Redemption, American Pie, Pulp Fiction, very cool movies that last the test of time. The top movies of 2022 is Sonic 2, Boss Baby 3. We're devolving because our entertainment, it stinks. Saturday Night Live, every Monday after the Saturday show, there was a viral video. Not that long ago, even 4 or 5 years ago. And in this past year, they had one viral video, and it was them talking about how the pandemic restrictions were unnecessary. So, and we want to say, we love the pandemic. For Corinne watching this, we love the pandemic. We love all the requirements they did. Thank you, Dr. Fauci, one more time. But to get back to my point, it's because it's all about intersectionality and checking a box and making sure that we have a trans Latino lead character instead of actually trying to create funny content. And that's really what's happening. And this is another thing is, You look at the best comedians in the world or black guys, but like Chris Rock, a lot of these guys are capitulating to the mob. That's the thing is the guys that are supposed to be, I mean, Dave Chappelle doesn't. Dave Chappelle has been able to, buck the system a little bit by, still going after trans a little. But sadly, this is what they do. They get all the top black actors and comedians and they put them in a dress because they want to feminize them. That's a big conspiracy, but that I think is real because what they want to do is they want to confuse all the young kids at the indoctrination camp, make them feminize the boys and masculinize the women. And they use our entertainment and pop culture to do that the strongest.
100%. The switching of roles of male and female and even the ambiguity or the attempt to make it ambiguous for male and female is just prevalent, man. It's funny because they challenge women to say, you don't need no man. You should go out. You're equal to a man. They do all of this stuff they teach women. And then they make men feel bad about being masculine and being a leader. And they emasculate men. And then you have this confused world because a woman that goes through her life, I don't need no man. I'm just as equal as men. When they get 40, it's all night time. They sad, they got a little puppy at the house, and that's all they got. They ain't never gonna get no man, they have no children or nothing because they believe this lie of climbing up the corporate ladder and they sad. And then what men do, they be weak, wimpish men, and then they end up lonely because no woman really want to marry no man that's soft, that can't stand up for nothing, that don't have no masculinity left, and they're sitting there. I don't want to go too far with that, but.
No, but this is my cat. You make a really good point though, because if you look at people in their 30s, they say that women make less than men. But a lot of the women I know make more than the men their same age, and so you nailed it because a lot of times a woman doesn't want to date a guy that makes less money than them, so they've really just totally feminized the man and masculinized the women when it even comes to the wages, the wage gap.
Yeah, which is, I don't think when people talk about wage gap and all this other stuff, it just really. It makes me question the motives of these people. It's like, do we live in a country where some people just believe different than we do? Or are people, they have these evil motives, right? Because some people probably do think that there's systemic racism in the country. There's no evidence of it, in my opinion. There's no evidence of it. Some people probably think that women make less money than men for working the same amount of hours. There was absolutely no evidence of that when you're comparing statistics that make sense with one another, apples to apples. Do you guys think that we're battling just a different perspective? Like people actually see the world differently? Or do you think this is through propaganda and manipulation and evilness that the other side has their argument?
Well, okay, and this is arguing with two black guys, but I do think systemic racism exists because this is why you look at the crack laws in California and the third strike law that Kamala Harris put in. You guys can call me wrong. I'm saying that disproportionately affected people of color. And you also look at when you have a pound of powder cocaine is equal to a handful of crack cocaine. I feel like that law, especially if you look into the Iran-Contra, the CIA got busted trading guns with Nicaragua for cocaine. Then they would take that cocaine and they would give it to guys like Freeway Ricky Ross. They would give it to Griselda Blanco in Florida, and then all over. It all flew in from Mena, Arkansas, which President Clinton was the governor at. So I'm just saying, you look at our private prison industry, it's a lot of nonviolent drug offenders that are African American, that are black guys. So I'm not saying that it's totally rigged, but in my opinion, I do think it is disproportionately affecting black people, and I don't think that's on accident. So that's where I'm at with that.
And AB, I'll let you go after me, but I agree that it's disproportionality. I just don't agree that it's specifically targeting black people. This is what I think. There's money to be made, there's trades to be had, and there's a certain group of people who are willing to exploit their own group of people to make money. Because I don't think that they said we're going to force black people to do certain things. They knew that this would not go well in any other group because black people will sell their own people out, which we already saw through slavery. They'll sell their own people out in order to make some money. Freeway Ricky Ross didn't have to sell drugs to his own people. All these other drug dealers that made all this money, because you got to think, there's some people that became millionaires through selling drugs too. Jay-Z's of the world and all these other people have become extremely wealthy starting with selling drugs. But I think that, Thomas Sowell wrote a really good book about this. It's called, I forget the name of it, but what he says in the book is that just because there's disproportionality doesn't mean that it's racism. Yeah. That's the sum of what he said. And so just because something is disproportionate don't mean it's discrimination. It's discrimination and disparities. That's the name of the book.
Well, I want to make this point. I want to put on our tinfoil hat real quick. You guys might have heard this. There's other people that talk about this, that in the 80s, late 80s and 90s, that they got all the record executives into a private meeting, and they said, hey guys, you're owned by, Capitol Records, Arista Records, all the big record labels at the time, and we are the biggest investors in the private prison industry. So with your music, we want you to glamorize a life of drugs and violence. And so that may not be systemic racism, but this is a conspiracy, guys. I can't prove this. But then you look at you look at the music that did get pumped up. Dude, the early raps and back in the day when rap first came out, it wasn't all negative. It wasn't all about violence and drugs. And then it kind of materialized into that. So was that an accident? Was that done to destabilize the black population? I don't know. I tend to believe that theory, because if you do look at the glamorization of a degenerate lifestyle, that's really what got put up as the example of what kind of lifestyle you should live.
And so let me say this, AB, I promise I'm gonna kick it to you. Just as my thoughts on that. I think what you're saying, Alex, is coming from a really good, intelligent place, and I think that people tend to believe that. And I'm not saying you're right or wrong.
I could be wrong. I want to say that I don't know everything.
The way I look at it, and I'm not saying I'm right about it, but the way I look at it is just capitalism, right? Yeah. You say, how can we make as much money as we can? Let's grab the people who are foolish enough to do it and have them do it. Because if you think about it, you say, who was making the music? It was black people, and a lot of black men became very wealthy off of it, and they had no problem with it. And so it's like, if you are dumb enough to do it, capitalism would eat you up and spit you out. If there's a supply and demand and certain people, indulge, it'll eat them up and spit them out.
But to your point, I know.
You look at heroin.
I say that, Anthony. Sorry.
Go ahead,
so here's the thing. The music is a cop out, because let me tell you this. Remember that song, Self-Destruction? You're headed for self-destruction. When did that come out? Do you know what year?
I don't know.
1989, right in the height of the crack epidemic.
Yeah.
So when you had all this positive, all this kind of stuff coming out, you had the worst amount of death from the crack epidemic. And the death wasn't from necessarily the drugs and overdoses and whatnot. It was from rival gangs killing each other over the money. It wasn't even necessarily the drugs themselves. It was the money. So it's like, okay, who's putting a battery in somebody's back and saying, hey, you got to go out there and kill your brother over the territory, rather than working together, rather than build some kind of business, rather than being honorable, honor amongst thieves? You want to go kill him to take that corner. That's like, that was the plot of Paid in Full, the movie, where just, real quickly, without getting too deep into it. So in the movie Paid in Full, there was a drug dealer named Calvin, black dude. He was the man on the block. He gets locked up. One of the young guys comes in and takes his spot. Calvin comes home and wants to be the guy again, but the guy that has a spot now was like, hey, man, you just came out. You're real hot right now. They're looking at you. I'll give you some money. I'll give you a little bit of the corner, but you can't have the corner back. But the guy couldn't accept that and wanted the corner back. See, the drugs wasn't even really the thing. So what does Calvin do? Calvin home invades the guy, kills a bunch of people that he already knew, people that were friends of his, shoots one guy in the head. He almost dies, but doesn't. And he winds up going to jail or dying anyway. Matter of fact, they killed him on the street. That was the crack epidemic. I lived through that. My uncle was doing that and died in 1990. I remember all that stuff that happened. So the music, that's a cop out. The drugs, it was all about the money and the gangs and the violence that we do to each other. If not for how we treat each other, that whole thing wouldn't happen. And the crack laws, that was something that the black community wanted. Yes, we did. We could say that it was racist, but we asked for it. We demanded it because of all the violence. We asked for it. We demanded it. We wanted it. So Joe Biden, he could be wrong in retrospect, but who asked for it? It wasn't like the white man came and said, okay, you guys need these crack laws. We asked for it. It was us. So if we're going to go forward, we have to take personal accountability for what we did and things that we actually put out there, rather than just saying, oh, it's them.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I'll let you respond, Alex, in one second. But yeah, I think that if somebody said it's not capitalism or whatever, but it's like capitalism is good and bad. Like you can use capitalism for bad and you can use capitalism for good. So capitalism isn't all good. It just depends on how you use it. But the supply and demand is what it is. And I think that the degenerate culture that is in the black community, because if you look at crack cocaine, around the same time, methamphetamine was even more punitive than crack cocaine, and methamphetamine flooded the white community. but you didn't have the gang violence and all the other stuff that came with the things that happened in the black community. And the whole rap industry thing, I think is true. You know, look at the biggest consumers of hip hop are white people. However, the biggest culprit, the people who are performing and the people who are being negatively affected by it tend to be black people. I think it's culture, because white people listen to rap music more than anybody. Lil Wayne have a concert, but for some reason they don't act out the stuff that they are listening to. It seems as if black people begin to act out of it. So let me just say this, and Alex, I'll let you talk.
It's the other way around. It's not life imitating art, it's art imitating life. You're talking about black folks. The things that we do, we put into the music. It's not the other way around, in my opinion.
You said it again? You said the things we do, we put in the music?
Yeah, we put into the music. It's not that the music influenced us, it's that we influence the music by the things that we do. Our daily, everyday lives, we put into the music. So it looks like the music is influencing us, but in reality, we are just talking about the things that we do every day in the music.
Right. And I do think that it's like a cycle too. You know, I think a lot of these, because you think about this.
Yeah,
you got the hood dudes who selling dope, but they not selling dope no more. They rap about selling dope. They live up in Buckhead. You know what I'm saying? They got a gated community. But like the baby just shot somebody on his property. He lived in an estate on acreage. Like you have to go, you probably have to drive back to his house in a car. You probably couldn't even walk back there. It'll take you a while. But these guys rap about an idea of what's existing in the black community, yet they don't live it anymore. So what they're doing is they're promoting it in a cycle. So these young people coming up, they feel like, oh, that's how I become successful. That's how I be the man. And they begin to believe the myth that's told from an experience that was actually had, you know, at one point in time. So I agree with you, ABL. Alex, go ahead.
Okay, and this is my point. No, please, no need to apologize. But you guys obviously know better than me, and this is why I do think though systemic racism is my last thing I want to say about it. Is now we look at January 6th. Now you look at the alphabet agencies. I just believe the government will go after anybody. It doesn't matter your race. They're opportunists. So it's like, you know, first it was the black race. Now, you know, then it was a lot of people, Mexicans at the border. I'm just saying I'm anti-government. I'm basically a libertarian, even though I'm more conservative, because I just think the government they want to control us. The government is a people management system. So if they can make you out to be the villain, the government will do that, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. And so I think it's I guess what I'm trying to say is I think the government's racist towards everybody personally. That's my point.
No, I agree. I think that's a good point for us to I think we can all agree on it. I think the Democrat government is racist towards black people.
Yeah.
I feel like Democrats are, if there's any racism to be had, I think it's coming from the Democrats, given slavery, given Jim Crow, given all these other things that they've done, and they still do it today. They have a disdain for white people, so now they promote anti-white. Even the white people promote anti-white, and then they bring the Hispanics over here and they let them die in the desert and let them, you know, live under the system, and they just want their votes. So they're willing to exploit anybody for a vote.
I just got to say this. They celebrate Woodrow Wilson as a progressive icon, yet he created the Jim Crow era. I mean, he basically ushered that in. You know, he actually segregated the federal government. It wasn't segregated, it got unsegregated. So a lot of these people, like you said, that they champion on the left side were actually more racist than they could ever imagine. So we're literally in the upside down world. When you bring up Jim Crow, people don't realize that Woodrow Wilson, who is even considered today like a progressive icon, literally resegregated the federal government, resplit people up by color. So it's the left doing a lot of the racism.
Well, hey, I think we can definitely agree on that one. Where can people find you at, Alex Stein?
Dude, y'all can find me. If you can't find me, you're not looking. I'm Primetime99. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube. If you can't Google Alex Stein Primetime, then you can't find me. So and I just want to say the last thing, because I know we're wrapping things up. Thank you again so much. And it was a pleasure to meet you, ABL. I hope we can collaborate again in the future. And for the people that said you need to go live more, see, Brandon, they don't know how much time it makes just to make a 5-minute video, just to make a 10-minute video. And I'm not trying to make them feel dumb or anything, but it takes a lot of work, guys, just to turn on this microphone and talk into it extemporaneously, find the clips and just edit it and post it. So I'm telling you, you're working your derriere off. That's a better word for butt. We know that. I'm just saying you're working your ass off, and you deserve a lot of the success you're having. So thank you for having me on, Big T.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, Alex. I got to have you back, man. I want to be on your show when you have one. ABL, where can they find you at, man?
The best place, you can find me right here, right on YouTube. Search that right there, ABL, right on YouTube. I pop right on up. Also, go to my website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. Go to the contact page. I got all my social media on there. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Also my email, my snail mail. You can send me whatever you want. Okay, got no pants on. It's all good.
Somebody in the chat said I have no pants on. No, I got the suit on and I got no pants on. So I just had to say that. They were right in the chat.
Don't let your Wayne come out, man.
No, I got shorts on. I got shorts on. I got shorts on. Don't worry, I'm not butt naked. Sorry,
I take your word for it. I don't want to get the demonstration.
Let's see. What's it? My
Oh
wife,
yeah,
I guess
I'll be. Yes, and Corinne, she's been so supportive. She already got tickets. I'll be in, and I would have given you guys free tickets, but I'll be in the Phoenix area May 22nd, and then I'll be in Tucson May 21st, Bisbee May 20th, and El Paso the 19th. So I'm going on a little stand-up tour. So thank you again for the support, all the support. I mean that. So from you and Corinne, you guys have been just A1 from the start. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man, we support people. That's one thing about me that you'll find that I don't care how many followers you got. I don't care if I like your content is good. I like to promote people because I think that we all have a voice and that we all should, be out as big as possible to capture as many people as we can. So, hey, I appreciate you guys coming on. I'm trying to make sure that I keep it at an hour because I know we get long-winded sometimes. And
last thing,
good.
Anthony Fauci, we love you. Everybody listen to the CDC. You're the best, and you know everything. Thank you, CDC, for being so great. Just for that.
I'm going to get more followers now. I mean, they're going to let the algorithm go up a little bit now. But now I appreciate you guys. I try to stick it to an hour every Thursday at 6:30. I'm going to try to continue it. I got some big things in the works that's going to change what I do it's going to change what I do in a major way. I won't stop doing what I'm doing, but it's going to add a lot of things, and I'm going to try to continue to keep doing this Thursday panel and try to keep it at an hour. So I appreciate everybody. ABL, you said your thing. Alex, you said your thing. Again, if you guys interested in the Officer Tatum store, my book is also on the store, Beating Black and Blue. You get 20% off. Put United We Stand. Put United We Stand as a discount code. Go on there and buy it now. If you see things that are sold out, just hit notify me when made available when y'all get it. So love you guys. Thank y'all for coming on. We'll see y'all next week. We out of here.
See ya.